Hello everyone, my name is Loco and welcome to some more StarCraft 2. Now today we are going to be playing a live game of StarCraft 2, but I want to quickly point out that this is going to be Heart of the Swarm, and I want to quickly address the reason why. So I've basically not been playing Heart of the Swarm ever since the Swarm host got nerfed. However, as of late, since they basically introduced the last patch in Legacy of the Void, I've been having some crazy lag in that game. Basically everything I do is delayed by about a half second to a full second, so it's nearly unplayable for me. So what I've been up to in the last couple days is actually play Heart of the Swarm once again, and we are currently rank 5 with 35 bonus pool, and we have 36 wins and 25 losses, so we're doing quite alright. And we found ourselves over at Bridgehead LE versus a guy named Asu, if I'm not, yeah, Asu right there from D-Shark. Actually, a pretty well-known clan right now on the European server. Seems there's a lot of people in that clan. But either way, this is going to be a Zerg versus Zerg on Bridgehead LE. I'm obviously playing this one at the same time as I'm actually commentating it, so it's going to be a little bit tricky. But we'll try our very best to play this Zerg versus Zerg out. So transitioning back toward Heart of the Swarm is actually really fun. I've been having a blast once again, having some very solid all-around strategies. As you guys know, Legacy of the Void is, you know, changing like every other day, it feels like. So I've been playing a lot of Legacy of the Void, but it's nice to have a build that you can go for in Heart of the Swarm that is actually solid versus pretty much everything. I always feel when I play Legacy of the Void that there are certain strategies that my opponents can just do and I just sort of flat up die, right? Like recently a lot of Liberator Hellbat stuff in Zerg vs Terran, and a lot of Lurker rushes in Zerg vs Zerg, and it's just different kind of strategies that can easily catch you off guard. Whereas in Heart of the Swarm, you know, I played this game for so long, I know exactly what is gonna be hitting my front door, you know, very shortly, or what could potentially be hitting me in the face very shortly. Now, honestly, I've been having a very good time. We've got a very solid win rate. We're actually pushing a bunch of Grandmasters right now as well. So we're doing alright. We're doing alright. I don't know exactly if I want to be playing this for much longer, though. I have to be honest as well that I actually find Legacy of the Void already much more enjoyable than Heart of the Swarm. But that's not to say that I'm not having a good time playing StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm as it is right now. It's definitely good to be back on the horse, I suppose, for at least a little while. At least until that lag issue will be settled. Now we're gonna go for a Hatchery first, and I'm thinking about following it up with a 17 Gas Geyser and then like a 16 spawning pool. So something like that. So a Hatch Gas pool. It seems to be a very good build. And this should give me plenty of safe options early on. Obviously, if my opponent goes for any kind of early spawning pools, I'm gonna be in a lot of trouble because there's simply very little that I can do at that point. But I think we should be alright. Very few people at this level of play are actually cheesing very often, and we actually see my opponent take the low ground right there on the Hatchery. That does look to be a... We're gonna actually have to keep an eye out on that base right now with the second Overlord, but that does look to be a pool into a Hatchery instead of like the Hatchery into the pool, which what we did. So we gotta be a little careful with this first Overlord. Obviously do not want to lose it. Replacing the Overlords a little bit right now. I need another one. There we go. I'm gonna be putting that one right over here so it can scout both of these places. Both the bridge and, you know, this little high ground kind of thing. So I know whether or not my opponent is moving out. There's another bridge over here. But yeah, it all depends on what exactly is going on. Overlord's a little bit late. Not the biggest of deals, obviously. We are gonna need to make a set of Zerglings here as well. To start looking around and see what my opponent is up to. And we're gonna actually pull a guy off of gas, start the Zergling speed up, and very shortly we will also be starting up the Baneling nest. Now the nice thing about this build is that I have a couple of different options. First off, what I could be going for here is a very aggressive Zergling Baneling timing attack. And what I mean with that is like right when my first injects pop off, so that is right when these first queens spawn, I will be able to start moving across the map with like a crazy amount of units. And with the Baneling nest added, it can actually easily win you the game if your opponent is not paying close attention. But I can obviously also just transition towards some very standard macro instead. So far I've just been making drones, except for, you know, that Baneling nest and then a couple of Zerglings for scouting purposes. But I think we should be alright, at least trying a little bit of aggression to my opponent. Alright. So I don't know exactly what he's up to right now. If I could, yeah, if I could, I would really like to sneak into that base, but I don't know. Alright, what we can do is make like a big amount of Zerglings right here and just see if we can do some sort of aggression. We already have a bunch of Zerglings obviously out. We know that he doesn't have a super early Zergling speed himself. So it's all good. It is all good. Gotta be careful, making another Overlord here. And we're gonna have to do some sort of damage with this, right? Well, if I can catch these Zerglings, that would actually be huge. And I think I will be able to catch him. Well, not if you go over there. You go back to the natural. Alright. So a little bit of an aggressive push right here by me. But he seems to be very greedy with that hatchery on the low ground. So I think this is more than a calculated position right now. And... ooh, sorry about that, guys. Oh, there we go. That's very nice. Ideally, I actually didn't mean to kill all of my Banelings right there. But I think this is more than okay. We're gonna have a quick look with a couple of Zerglings up the ramp right now. See if my opponent is being annoying. We did hit a bit of a supply block right here ourselves. Not the greatest of deals. Gotta make sure that I am actually hotkeying these things separately. We killed the Baneling nest, so that's good. And I was making more and more units right now. And my opponent says GG. So a bit of an aggressive timing attack. Obviously, I didn't actually mean to kill my opponent here. But just the fact that my opponent went for the expansion on the low ground rather than the expansion in base make this kind of tricky, right? If you think about it, let's say my opponent would have gone for a, you know, a more safe, or like a more safe in-base expansion. It would be very difficult to be pushing up this ramp. But knowing that he expanded to the low ground, I know for a fact that even if he like walls off this entire area with like double Evo Chambers, Roach Warren, and using the Hatchery or whatever, and like a couple queens, I can still just run around the back. So whatever happens here, it seems like this is pretty much always a risk. And in this scenario, if you're gonna be delaying your Baneling nest, as well as your Spine Crawler as much as he did, and then also having that late Zergling speed, it's just gonna be a little bit too much. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this little bit of an aggressive Zerg versus Zerg. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button down below. If you want to see more, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And I want to thank you guys all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, and I'll see you in the next one.